Hello, this is the CRT man here. Today I have my Lego computer with some more updates. And as you see, I have two of my iMacs in the background just kind of sitting there running. And once again, kind of like the last updates video, the only real update is the Lego CRT television / monitor. So let's move that up there. Um, yeah, nothing else has really changed. Except for this little piece on the mini cathode ray tube, which I'll probably show you how to build this sometime. The speakers have stayed the same. The floppy disks have stayed the same. Of course, you could put one in. That's not going in right this time. There we go. And you can eject it. So yeah, that still works fine. And yeah, those have stayed the same. The keyboard has stayed the same with the little plug-in. The mouse has stayed the same with the mouse pad and all that. The gun has stayed the same. I'm gonna shoot you. What else? The game controller has stayed the same. Still very nice. Oops. And let's see, on the back, you still have all similar ports. So you could still unplug the computer, which sometimes the plugs break. And then the power supply plug-in has stayed the same for that. Computer cable has stayed the same, which gets reused into a high voltage probe. The screwdriver has stayed the same. It's still the one where you could take it off and make it a thinner point or a thicker point. And so, whoops, let's unplug the telly / monitor. Put the power strip aside. And maybe I'll just show you the inside of the computer since you haven't seen it in a while in a few minutes. So here's the updates for the television. Well, as you see, it doesn't look like anything changed. I mean, the knobs are the same, the speaker is the same, the tube's the same. The only thing I got rid of on the front was that little, those little extra controls down there, because it was just a little bit too excessive and it kept breaking. But as you see on the back, things have. There's no like exit port here, so you might be wondering, well, how do you get the cord out? Well, I made a new back-end design case. So the way you take off the case, I just hope it won't break, is like this. You see there, the case is different. It's got this big empty section right here, as I hope you can see. And yeah, this section of the plastic case right here takes that part in, as you see there, like a real TV. Since in real tellies or televisions, they have this part that holds the circuit board up. So also with that new addition, I changed things around again. First of all, the flyback transformer is now back onto the right side. The deflection yoke has stayed the same. The neck board, oops, man, I usually never break the neck of the tube. Okay, let's try that again. The neck board has changed. You see, it's just got a couple of heat sinks there. There's the electron plug-in, a capacitor, and your tuning pots, which you could still tune with the screwdriver. And yeah, that stayed the same. Sorry, that changed. What am I talking about? And you could still discharge the tube, which I just had to convert my screwdriver into that high voltage probe real quick. Whoops. Freaking Lego just blew my laptop. Just give me one quick second. Okay. To this thing as like before. And like I said, you could discharge the tube, just plug it into one of the grounds, and then just do that. And then you, in real life, you hear like a popping sound if you just recently turned on the television. And I guess it looks like one of my iMacs just turned off, but yeah. And then you could take off the anode connector, which has stayed the same. That doesn't really change much ever. And if you take the neck board off and then slide out the circuit board, you'll see there's no attachment to anywhere. But if you remember in my last video, there used to be like these attachments to this blue Lego piece that connected right to the tube, which in real life does not happen. but I didn't have any other way to connect it to the chassis itself. But now, since the chassis is much better, it just slides right under there and stays connected physically by these two parts. So if you just slide it in like this, it actually stays in. And you could tilt it over, it might move a little bit, and you could even move it around. You see, it's not even falling out until usually you do it upside down, which, sorry if that just got off camera, but yeah, you see it doesn't really fall off unless you kind of move it around a little bit too much, but it stays in. It's pretty sturdy. So now the other update with the television is, well, the speaker down there, the little speaker has changed. It just made it a little bit more updated. There's the VHF knob, which has changed. It's just by itself. And the UHF and the power knobs and brightness knobs, which would have wires going to the circuit board, but I don't have any spare wires yet. So maybe if I get those, I could try to do that. And putting everything together is pretty easy. It doesn't fall apart that much unless I film it, because it always breaks when I film. But yeah, you see here. So, and then to put the case back on, all you do is just gently slide it back on, like so. And I made this little hole for the cable so it'll still fit. Sorry if you hear any banging, that's just the stupid neighbors. And there you have it. The case is back on like it should be. And the telly still has the antenna, and I could never find the other one, so sorry about that. And so that's all the real updates, but since it's been a super long time since you've seen the inside of the computer itself, I'm just going to show you real quick. So to open it up, you go back here, and this usually doesn't break that bad, but I haven't opened it up in a long time, so yeah. It's kind of falling apart on camera because that just always happens. I'm not lying. This thing usually doesn't break apart like this. But, yeah, so here's the front end, or the front cover. So it usually should come off like this as one piece, but you know what happens. And then over here, you have the floppy drive, which is all this. And let me get a floppy disk again. Put one in. And then you see you could eject it, and you still have this little floppy disk head reader, which doesn't actually touch the disk, but in real life it probably would. You have your CPU with the CPU heatsink fan on top. You have your power supply. You have your 2 sticks of RAM, which are removable, but it's a little bit hard with a cramped case. You have your video connector, and you have your hard drive, which takes up a ton of space. And you could still easily take the hard drive out. And here's the hard drive. And if you open that up, which this part doesn't seem to like to come off anymore, you have the disk, the acculator arm, a ground box, which I'm not sure if all hard drives have that, and the whole acculator section. And you have your spindle motor, and it does move. Not sure if you can see that. It moves better when this stuff is kind of this first layer is kind of off. And then here's where you plug in the power and your connector to your computer motherboard. So even though this doesn't seem to even have a motherboard, I guess just the empty space is just the motherboard. So there you have it. All the updates on the computer. So yeah, I hope you like it. So thanks for watching.